A brain trained in a different world. If you grew up before smartphones, your brain was trained in a world that no longer exists. Not better, not worse, just different. You waited without scrolling. You stood in lines with nothing to distract you. You sat with your thoughts on buses, in rooms, in silence. Back then, silence was normal. Boredom was normal. Waiting was part of life, and your brain adapted to that environment. Today, we live in a world where waiting feels uncomfortable, where silence feels empty, where every pause can be filled in seconds. But your brain learned something else first. It learned how to stay present without constant input. And that early training still matters. How attention was shaped by boredom. Before smartphones, boredom had no escape button. If you were bored, you stayed bored. And your mind had only two choices: wander or focus. This trained attention in a quiet way. Not perfect focus, not deep productivity, but patient attention. You learned how to sit through moments that gave nothing back. No likes, no messages, no instant reward. Your brain learned that nothing happening was not a danger. Today, boredom often feels threatening. It pushes people to reach for their phones without thinking. This does not mean people who grew up before smartphones are naturally more focused today. Many struggle just like everyone else. But their brains learned attention before constant interruption became normal. That difference still shapes how quickly they feel overwhelmed. Memory, thinking, and inner navigation. Before smartphones, memory was not optional. You remembered phone numbers. You remembered meeting times. You remembered details. Or you lost them. Your brain acted as storage. Today, the brain acts more like a search engine. This is not a decline in intelligence. It is a shift in responsibility. But it changes how thinking feels. People who grew up before smartphones often rely more on internal memory and intuition. They think in longer lines. They pause before reacting. Sometimes this looks like slowness, but often it is depth. At the same time, this can create tension, because modern systems reward speed, not reflection, reaction, not consideration. So these people may feel out of sync, not because they cannot adapt, but because their brain prefers a different rhythm. Identity without constant comparison. One of the biggest psychological differences is identity. Before smartphones, you compared yourself to people around you, your school, your neighborhood, your workplace, not to thousands of strangers every day. Mistakes stayed local. Embarrassment faded with time. Your worst moments were not recorded forever. This allowed identity to form more quietly, more internally. You learned who you were without watching everyone else perform. Today, identity develops under pressure. Comparison has no limits, and judgment never sleeps. People who grew up before this often feel confused by modern anxiety and self-doubt. They may say, "I don't understand why everyone is so stressed." But the difference is not personality. It is environment. They learned who they were before constant comparison became normal. Emotional regulation and silence. When discomfort came before smartphones, there was no instant escape. You could not distract yourself every time an uncomfortable feeling appeared. So you learned to sit with emotions, even difficult ones. Sadness, loneliness, restlessness, uncertainty. Not always in a healthy way, but in a real way. This is why many people from this generation appear calm, not because they feel less, but because they learned to carry feelings quietly. However, this calm is often misunderstood. Silence does not mean peace. Calm does not mean lack of struggle. It often means the struggle happens inside. The hidden conflict with the modern world. Here is the real conflict. People who grew up before smartphones are now asked to live in a system their brains were never trained for. A system of constant alerts, endless comparison, permanent availability. They are expected to react faster, share more, and rest less. Over time, this creates fatigue. Not because they are weak, but because their nervous system was built for a quieter world. Understanding this changes everything. The problem is not age, it is mismatch. Why this still matters today. People who grew up before smartphones are not outdated. They are not slow. They are not resistant to change. They are carriers of a different mental model. A model where attention had space, where memory mattered, where identity formed without constant observation. The real challenge is not technology itself. The challenge is forcing one type of brain to live by rules designed for another. When this difference is understood, shame disappears. You are not broken if modern life feels loud. You are not weak if you miss silence. You are not failing if your mind works best offline. You are adapting, often without anyone noticing how much effort it takes. Share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe your story will help someone who feels the same way. This is the If Verse, the place where your mind becomes easier to understand. Subscribe. There's so much more to explore. Thank you for watching.